Welcome to our deep dive into the world of drinking water. I'm so glad we're finally doing this one.
Yeah, definitely.
I've been wanting to get into this document for a while now.
Yeah.
It's got all this great info about like what's in our water and what we should think about when we're,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
trying to decide what to actually drink. So,
Yeah. It's a lot to think about.
yeah, we're not just going to like tell you what's in your water. We're going to help you figure out like what you should actually be putting in your body.
Exactly. Because a lot of us, we just kind of take clean water for granted, right?
Yeah.
But getting truly clean water is getting harder and harder.
Yeah.
And even in developed countries.
And you know what? It's kind of like a big game of hide and seek, right?
Right.
Like we're trying to find out what's really in our water.
Exactly. It's not just the things we normally worry about either.
Yeah.
There's things like caffeine and shower gel.
Sour gel.
Yep, shower gel. That can end up in the water supply.
Oh, it's kind of gross.
It is,
Yeah.
along with the industrial chemicals and the pesticides and pharmaceuticals, of course.
Pharmaceuticals. So like leftover antibiotics and painkillers.
Pretty much. And it all ends up in the water we drink.
So all this stuff ends up in our water.
Yeah.
So what? What does that actually mean for our health?
Well, one of the biggest worries is something called the cocktail effect.
Okay.
Scientists are finding that it's not just the individual contaminants that are the problem, it's how they interact together in our bodies.
So it's like a chemical party in our system.
Yeah, pretty much. And we don't really know what's going to happen after.
Oh, wow. So this cocktail effect is definitely something to watch out for, especially with all the pharmaceuticals in our water.
Definitely. That's one area that we're really concerned about.
Yeah. Okay. So what are the specific concerns there?
Well, the concentrations of individual drugs are usually pretty low,
Okay.
but when you've got a mix of different pharmaceuticals in there, plus all the other chemicals,
Right.
it starts to raise some red flags.
I can see why. So what kind of problems can happen because of all these pharmaceuticals in the water?
Well, one of the biggest worries is antibiotic-resistant bacteria.
Okay.
So picture this. You've got all these bacteria in the water,
All right.
and they're constantly exposed to low levels of antibiotics
Yeah.
from these pharmaceuticals.
Right.
This basically gives the tougher bacteria a survival advantage, and they thrive and multiply,
So it's like survival of the fittest for bacteria.
pretty much. And the prize is that they become immune to our antibiotics.
Oh, no. That's scary.
And then those resistant bacteria can find their way back to us through the food chain or even just contact with water,
Right.
which makes infections so much harder to treat.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it like that before. So
Yeah.
are there other ways that all these chemicals are messing with the environment?
Definitely. There's been research on the effects of hormones.
Like from birth control pills and stuff?
Exactly. Those hormones can have a real impact on aquatic life. Like, researchers have found intersex fish in some areas.
Intersex.
Yeah, fish that have both male and female characteristics.
That's wild. So even low levels of these hormones can really mess with fish.
They can. They disrupt the hormonal balance, leading to those developmental abnormalities.
Wow. Okay. So we've got all this stuff in our water. What can we actually do about it?
Well, we can't solve the whole water crisis by ourselves.
Yeah, true.
But we can take control of our own water choices.
Okay, that sounds good.
Mhm.
So where do we start?
First, you got to know what you're dealing with.
Okay.
Check the water quality reports for your area.
You mean like checking the ingredients list on a food label, but for my water?
Exactly. Once you know what's in your water, you can make informed choices.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So what are our options? We can't just stop drinking water, can we?
No, definitely not. But we can be smarter about it.
Okay.
Most people either buy bottled water or they filter their tap water.
Bottled water seems easy, but I have a feeling you're about to tell me it's not that great.
Maybe a little bit. Bottled water can be convenient.
Yeah.
But have you thought about the environmental impact?
All those plastic bottles, yeah.
Yeah. Plus, studies have shown that bottled water isn't always as pure as we think.
Really? I thought that was the whole point of buying bottled water.
Nope. One study found that there was an average of 8 contaminants in each of the 10 brands they tested.
8 contaminants in bottled water.
Yeah. Things like industrial byproducts, arsenic, nitrates, bacteria, even VOCs.
That's crazy. So bottled water isn't the perfect solution after all.
Nope. And then there's another thing to think about. The plastic bottles themselves.
You mean the environmental impact again?
That too, but I'm also talking about the plastic itself.
Okay.
Plastic isn't inert. It can actually leach chemicals into the water,
Really?
especially when it's exposed to heat or sunlight.
So the bottle itself could be contaminating the water.
Exactly. And we're talking about endocrine disruptors like BPA and phthalate.
The endocrine disruptors.
Yep. These chemicals can mimic hormones in our bodies.
Oh, that doesn't sound good.
It's not, our endocrine system is responsible for regulating our hormones.
Yeah.
Hormones control everything, from growth to mood to sleep,
Wow.
even reproduction.
So endocrine disruptors can really mess things up.
They can. BPA actually has a crazy history.
Okay.
Did you know it was originally developed as a growth promoter for livestock?
No way.
Yeah. Then it was used in hormone replacement therapy
Yeah.
before it ended up in plastics.
From livestock to hormones to plastic bottles. That's wild.
It is, and it really shows why we need to know what's in our products.
So what's the takeaway here?
Be careful with your plastic water bottles,
Okay.
especially ones that have been stored for a long time or left out in the sun.
So no more sun-baked water bottles in the car.
Exactly. Heat and sunlight can make those chemicals leach out faster.
Okay, got it. So is there a better way? Something more natural?
That's a great question, and it brings us to structured or living water.
Living water. What's that?
This idea is based on the work of Dr. Gerald Pollack.
Okay.
He wrote a book called The Fourth Phase of Water.
Okay.
He describes structured water as denser,
Okay.
more viscous,
Uh-huh.
and alkaline than regular water. It also has this unique electrical charge,
Okay.
which is why some people call it battery-like.
So it's like water that acts as a battery for our cells.
Exactly. This charge can actually help boost your cellular energy production.
That's incredible. So how do we get this living water?
Well, there are ways to structure water at home.
This is all so fascinating, but I think we need to take a quick break. When we come back, I'd love to hear more about how to structure water at home and if there's any way to know if our water is structured. So before the break, we were talking about structured or living water.
Right.
And I had to say, this whole idea that water can have
Yeah.
all these different structures is so fascinating.
It really is. It kind of changes everything we thought we knew about water.
Yeah, it really does. So it's like there's this whole other dimension to water.
Yeah, and it's not just some passive substance.
Yeah.
Dr. Pollack's research suggests that water is dynamic. It's almost like it's alive.
Yeah, I'm still wrapping my head around the idea of water acting like a battery. Can you explain that a little more?
Sure. So structured water forms what Dr. Pollack calls an exclusion zone.
Okay.
It's basically a region where the water separates charges,
Right.
kind of like a battery does. This creates potential energy that our cells can actually use.
So it's not just about hydration. It's like our cells are plugging into this natural energy source.
Exactly. It's about giving our cells this more bioavailable,
Right.
energetic form of water.
That can really help them function better.
Exactly.
Okay, so how can we tell if we're actually drinking structured water?
Well, people who drink it regularly often say it tastes smoother,
Okay.
silkier, and even a little sweeter. It can also feel more hydrating
Okay.
because it's more easily absorbed.
So it's not just about lab tests, it's about how the water feels and tastes.
Exactly. Tune into your senses.
Yeah.
Notice how the water feels in your mouth,
Uh-huh.
how it tastes, how you feel after you drink it.
So we can all become like water connoisseurs.
Exactly. It's all about being mindful of what we're drinking.
Right. We're not just gulping down a liquid, we're taking in something that's vital to life.
Exactly.
So how do we make sure we're getting the best water possible?
Well, first things first, you've got to know what's in your tap water.
Right. Check those water quality reports.
Exactly. Then think about your own needs.
Uh-huh.
Do you have any health concerns?
Okay.
Are you worried about the environment?
Right. Plastic bottles.
Exactly. And then don't forget to engage your senses.
Right. Paying attention to how the water tastes and feels.
Exactly. It's about trusting your body.
Yeah. Making choices that feel right for us.
Exactly.
So what's the main message you want listeners to take away from this?
Water is more than just a drink.
Right.
It's fundamental to life.
Okay.
And the choices we make about our water have ripple effects.
Yeah. On our health, the environment, even our energy levels.
Exactly.
So before we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay.
We've covered a lot about water quality and filtration and this whole concept of structured water.
Right.
But now it's up to each of us to take this knowledge and use it.
I agree.
Do your own research, explore your options, and most importantly, trust your instincts.
Yes.
You are your own best advocate for your health.
Absolutely.
So that concludes our deep dive into the world of drinking water. We'd love to hear your thoughts on social media.
Yeah, definitely.
Until next time, stay hydrated, stay curious,
Yes.
and keep choosing living water. It's funny. As we've been talking about all this water stuff,
Yeah.
it's made me think about how we approach life in general.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, it's like with water, we could just drink whatever's available.
Right.
Or we can be picky and choose the best water for us.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
Um,
It's like with information, too.
Yeah. We could just accept whatever comes our way.
Right. Or,
We can be more selective.
yeah, filter out the noise.
Exactly. Find the sources that really resonate with us.
Create a better experience for ourselves.
It's like choosing the best water for our bodies, but for our minds too.
That makes me think about the living water idea again.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just about the H2O, it's about the energy.
Right, the vitality.
And maybe that's something we can apply to our lives, too.
Yeah.
Are we living with energy and purpose?
Or are we just going through the motions?
Feeling stuck and disconnected?
Wow. Those are some big questions.
They are, but that's what makes this topic so interesting.
Yeah, it's not just about learning facts about water.
Right.
It's about using that knowledge to make better choices.
Exactly. Choices that nourish our whole being.
Yeah, and recognizing that everything is connected.
From the water we drink to how we live our lives.
Absolutely. So I think it's time to wrap up our deep dive into the world of drinking water.
Yeah, sounds good.
But the exploration doesn't have to end here.
Of course not.
Keep learning,
Yeah.
keep asking questions,
Yes.
and keep making choices that align with your values.
For a healthier, more vibrant life.
Exactly. So, thanks for joining us on this deep dive, everyone.
Yeah, thanks for listening.
Until next time, stay hydrated, stay curious, and keep choosing living water in all areas of your life.